Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. For today's preview, Stormers versus Connacht, the first URC semi-final of the year. And two injury-enforced changes for the Stormers, a 5-3 split, and two very important players as well missing. For Connacht, it's an unchanged 23. So they're going as full strength as they can, and the same team that beat Ulster away last weekend. They'll be looking to try and do it once again this weekend, this time down in Cape Town. And we're very interested to see how the Stormers cope without the two very important players we're going to talk about in just a second. But before we look at the two teams and talk a little bit about the matchups and what we can expect this weekend, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. We'll start with the Stormers team, shall we? Who are the home side? And you'll see two very big names missing there. In the number 5 jersey, no Marvin Orie. In the number 6 jersey, no Dion Fourie. For me, these are two of the 5 most important players to this team for various reasons. First of all, I think Dion Fourie is arguably their most important player. I think that he's somebody who they missed the most. Look, I think Steven Kitshoff, for example, Mike Ebok, David Willemse are probably their best players. I think alongside Dion Fourie as well, obviously. But I think Dion Fourie is someone who they don't have a replacement for. That's the biggest problem. I think there are certain players when they're missing, there are decent replacements. But I think missing out on Dion Fourie, for example, I think they're gonna struggle in the breakdown. Connacht were very good last weekend. I mean, Ulster lost a lot of breakdown, and I think Vinny Ilbricht's a very good player. He's not an number 6. Number Clubber was available, and they had him playing. I think they'd probably feel a lot better about life. But Marvin Orie not being there is huge from a set piece perspective. He's the best line operator in the country. Let's just put it like that, and let's be quite frank about it. We need, he is the best line jumper we've got in the country, and especially with Joseph Dwebe, who struggled in the initial stages. I think he's been very important in building up Joseph Dwebe's confidence and the fact that they didn't miss a single line out last week at all. So that's going to be a very big loss. So if you look at the side, Steven Kitshoff, Joseph Dwebe, Francois Herbert, it's an unchanged Springbok front row. Ruben van Heerden has been very impressive. Marvin Orie is replaced by Ben Jason Dixon. So I think in terms of your on-field play, everything apart from the lineouts, I don't think the Stormers lose much. I think Ben Jason Dixon has been brilliant this season. I think he will offer exactly the same physicality. I think he'll be very as good in defence, if not maybe even a bit better. But they're going to lose out on a very good lineout jumper. Vinny Ilbricht as well brings a lot of physicality, probably a little bit more than Dion Fourie does in terms of a brute strength type ball carrier, but not nearly as good at the breakdown, not as quick around the park, doesn't bring the same sort of energy. Hashiba Daimani, therefore, is going to have a very big game in terms of upping the energy, getting into that sort of loose positions and the wider channels, which he does so well. Evan Lewis is going to have to be a big combative this weekend. I think that I'm very much looking forward to the number 8 battle because I think that Evan Lewis is hopefully got a couple of games on his belt, should hopefully be up to his best. And I thought that Kian Prendergast is also a very young number 8. That should be a very nice matchup between those two. Herschel Yankees, Manie Liebach, I thought they were both absolutely superb last weekend. I said in the fan forum last week that Herschel Yankees had to start if they wanted to get the best out of this team. He did, and I thought he played really well. Manie Liebach as well, full of confidence, playing some of his best rugby at the moment last weekend. Leon Zas back on the score sheet last weekend next to Angelo Davis on the other side. David Willemse is so good, and then the incredibly informed Dan du Plessis next to Ruan now. So it's a good Stormers side, but they are going to miss those two. I think they've still got enough. Connacht will still have to play exceptionally well to beat them. But I think Stormers should have enough without Marvin Orie and Dion Fourie, but they need to make sure those two are back for the final if they do make it that far. Off the bench, JJ Kotzer, Ali Vermaak, Netling Bashir. They're going with the 5-3 split. So Connor Evans and Marcel Tennyson. And then they've got Paul de Beer, Johnny du Plessis comes into the side, and Sasha Famer and Gomez Zulu. So it's a bit more of a balanced bench. There are options. Johnny du Plessis can play at 10 and 15 as well. Fabian Gomez-Zulu can play at 15, at 12, 10. David Willemse can switch onto the wing. So they've got a lot of options that they need to from a backline perspective. And pretty decent options in the forward pack from a replacement point of view. Not quite the same impact, though, when you've got a Billy Engelbert, Ben Jason Dixon coming off the bench compared to Connor Evans and Marcel Tennyson. Good players, but not quite the same sort of caliber. If we look at the Connacht side, I said unchanged 23. So Dennis Buckley, Dave Hepburn, and Finley Beelum. That Beelum versus Kitshoff should be a really interesting battle. Josh Murphy, Niall Murray, the two locks. Seamus Hurley-Langton, I thought was absolutely brilliant last weekend. He's going to be very important to them. Connor Oliver as well. Kian Prendergast, I thought was very impressive. Colin Blade, I thought was quite good. Partners Jack Carty. Matt Hansen, he's the man to watch, isn't he? John Porch had a bit of a poor game last weekend, I felt, but gets another opportunity. Bundy Aki is going to be very combative. and they're going to have to make sure they handle him well. Tom Farrell outside him has got a good turn of pace. Tiernan O'Halloran at full back will be looking to be plenty of running. Then off the bench, the man with an impact will be Dylan Tierney-Martin, Jordan Duggan, Jack Unjia, Oisin Darling, Jared Butler, Kieran Marmion, Tom Daly, and Byron Ralston. It's a decent Connacht side. You know, we spoke a little about the fan forum last night. I think the only worry if I'm a Connacht fan is, you know, did they, you know, was it too much for them last weekend? You know, is this now a step too far? You know, I thought they really had to empty the tank last weekend. They put in a really good performance. If they can replicate that, I have no doubt that they can give the Stormers a real go and can win. But can they lift themselves with the travelling and produce a similar level of performance that they did a week ago, which is what they're going to need to do to beat the Stormers. Let me know what your score predictions are down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Stephen, and I'll chat to you soon.